Hello everyone, SoulsBorneFanatic here. Today is a great day to talk about one of my favorite games of all time. I'm sure many of you who have played Souls games also have Bloodborne on that list. Like many of you know, Bloodborne has been locked to this PlayStation 4 hell for 9 years, going on almost 10 years now, not receiving a port, let alone a remaster, or even uncapping the frame rate. The absolute disdain from Sony has not gone unnoticed or unchecked. Sony's adamant refusal to do absolutely anything with the IP has led to a very passionate group of people to pour their very essence into this emulator that is attempting to make PS4 games very playable. It cannot be overstated enough just how much Sony hates this game, to the point where it's almost funny. I could talk for a little while about how much this company, Sony, hates this game, but what you clicked on this video for was Bloodborne on PC. One of the most sought-after games on that PS4 catalog was Bloodborne, always has been. Maybe Gravity Rush too. This was just an inevitability that someone would undertake the immense task of trying to emulate. The love for this game and Fromsoftware as a whole is just too great to ignore. Just several months ago, the emulator could barely render 2D geometry. Fast forward to a week or two ago, and Bloodborne was able to reach as far as the title screen before crashing. The progression this emulator has gone through in such a short span of time is nothing but insane. With it being able to play the first cutscene about a week ago, maybe 5 days, now getting in the game and already running at a higher frame rate than the base PS4 or current PS5. It's something that you would understand if you were familiar with system architecture and the progress of emulation. When trying to emulate a console, the system architecture typically is not x86, which is what Windows uses, thus making it much simpler to develop than, say, the cell processor that the PS3 used with Demon Souls. With that in mind, making a sizable step into the game just booting, you can intuit how you may fix other problems that are present, drastically speeding up the process of approving the emulation. As you may have noticed, the emulator is clearly not perfect, and needs a lot of time to iron out the audio, graphics, and performance issues that are very much so present. But this progress has been really impressive, and there is no doubt that it will only get better. With some time, you can truly say this is something special, yet the consequences of letting the genie out of the bottle will be felt eventually. So, where exactly does that leave things? Well, with Bloodborne running on PCs, albeit not perfect, there is a good chance that Sony may take notice at a certain point, perhaps later, if they have not already. This could lead to a chain of reactions, or maybe one or a few. Sony potentially trying to sue the group that is working on the emulator, much like what has happened many years ago or recently with Nintendo. Or Sony suddenly decides to make a definitive version of the game. Both of these are very possible, with the latter being the preferable option, but you never really know with this company. They would have no real basis for suing this team that's working on the emulator. Say they don't take donations for a better version of the emulator, or providing a very detailed, or maybe not so detailed, guide on how to pirate Bloodborne, or make the emulator work in a way that allows piracy to flourish. Doing this would be a very big misstep, in the same way that they would do for the Switch emulator. Well, it's really up in the air how that would go. All that I can say is that it has never been a greater time to be a Bloodborne fan. So many people who have never played this classic may finally have the chance come a couple of years. With a new audience being opened up to this game, it's just a reality that many will pirate and emulate this game on their PCs. Is who can really blame them? Sure, piracy is illegal, and I'm not advocating for it at all, but with there being no real realistic alternative, that having them buy into a marketplace that you have no real interest in, why wouldn't you? Of course I have bought a copy of Bloodborne. I got it right here. It's a game that I supported, and love deeply, but many others may not do the same, dumping their copy onto their PCs, and the ones who will take the blame, only ones who can take the blame is none other than Sony themselves. They have sat on their hands with this absolute gem beside them for years and years, pretending this game doesn't exist. Of course, people are going to take it into their own hands, so they don't miss out on this piece of video game history. And everyone has a right to be pissed off. Why not do more? Yeah, I'm still very salty that they've ignored this game, but very happy that emulation is making really good progress. Last thing I want to talk about is Fromsoftware's position on this. It's particularly interesting. As seen through multiple interviews with Miyazaki and opinions from developers there, they clearly have some interest in seeing the game on PC or perhaps revisiting the series. With Miyazaki very overtly stating that he would get into trouble for saying he wants the game to be ported. It really makes you wonder just what the hell type of relationship is there between these two companies. Perhaps we shall never know what is really going on behind the scenes. But with this new development, there could be some changes, as who can account for this? I don't believe I can say much more on this topic, except go play Bloodborne. Go buy a copy of Bloodborne, and be prepared to join the hunt. As always, thanks for watching. Have a nice rest of your day.